anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. Tucker Carlson. What role do you think Tucker Carlson should play in the Republican Party and the conservative movement going forward?
Well, I found him to be good. I mean, he said good things about me over the years. I think he's good. We've had some good interviews. I did an interview with him. We had 300 million hits. You know that. Look, I can't tell him. Will you let me finish my statement? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you. We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide. The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us, and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
You yourself had dinner with Nick Fuentes at Mar-a-Lago a few years ago. What role should he play in the conservative movement?
Well, I didn't know he was coming, and he was with, as you know, somebody, Kanye. And Kanye asked if he could have dinner, and he brought Nick. I didn't know Nick at the time. And he did. He came, and along with a few other people. He brought a few people with him. Meeting people, talking to people, like for somebody like Tucker, that's what they do. People are controversial. Some are, some aren't. I'm not controversial, so I like it that
way. How's it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed Monday, and this is Hold the Line, episode 183. And this is for the AI tracker. If you're smart enough to listen, this is what we call in the business fair use. We're using a little clip of Fox News here, and we're going to comment on it. So that's what we call fair use out there in the real world. But before we get into any of the other stories, let's bring on my wonderful two co-hosts, Miss Lisa and Mr. Mac. Miss Lisa from across the pond, how's it going over there in the UK these days?
You don't want to ask.
Hey.
Really and truthfully. No, life's good, but, when you look at politics and stuff, it's not as good, I think we're in a little bit of trouble, and we can talk about that later. Well, I think at least Keir Starmer is, our so-called Prime Minister. And, we'll talk about it later. But good evening, everybody.
Absolutely. And Mr. Mac, sir, how's everything going?
Going great. Thanks for asking. Awesome to be here on these Monday nights for episode 183. Thanks to everybody that watches. Space Shot, thank you, and to Lisa for doing these shows, and then thanks to the mods. But I'm can't wait to start this show. Yep.
Yeah, and so so make sure we stay with the old copyright rules and comment on this thing. It's funny, President Trump's he always gets, I call it the business, right? Like they're always after him about something, and in this case, it's Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Can you believe that Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes? And it's like, yeah, well, that's his own channel. Like, who am I to tell him not to interview this guy or whatever? And then he's still in his answer, and he's like, and she's like, yeah, but what about Nick Fuentes? And he's like, you're horrible. He's like, you're horrible. Who are you with, Bloomberg? I don't even know why they have you. But I mean, they always want to try to put him in the worst possible light, right? Which, as we've seen, of course, recently is come back with, can anybody turn on the internet to any platform whatsoever and not see the name Epstein? So any comments on this one, Mac? We'll go with Lisa first next time. Any comments on this one here? But I just find it funny. Uh-oh, you muted? Uh-oh, is Mac with us?
I'll go. I'll go
Okay.
until he comes back. Well, it's interesting because the way that they're treating Trump is as if he owns CNN and Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes work for CNN. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what has that got to do with Trump? Just like what have these late night talk shows got to do with Biden? Like who they actually interview? You know what I mean? It's like it's just ridiculous that they're so clutching at straws to try and smear Trump. It's gone beyond the ridiculous. Tucker Carlson, he's a presenter, he's an interviewer, he's known for doing controversial interviews, he's known for investigating controversial stuff, and it's like, and he had an interview, you know?
Like, oh no.
Yeah, like, wow, okay, how many people, like, I don't know, some people don't like Putin, and it's like Putin gets interviewed. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. It's just too much of a long shot. It's nothing to do with Trump at all.
And they need to
took interviews,
Exactly. And they need to give him, if you notice too in the beginning, I don't know if you're back yet or not, Mac, but they said in the beginning, anti-Semite.
Pass it off to me first?
Yeah, I passed it off to you. No, I'm good. You're good. But it's so they come on and they're like, oh, hey, President Trump, Tucker interviewed known anti-Semite. It's like, oh boy. And of course they're going to set him up for the fall every single time on this.
It's classic media. They're hired to get you gotcha moments, and Trump's just great at flipping it and making great little clips.
Yeah.
So we are now.
It shows the word war that's going on.
Yeah, I think we got what we wanted to. And Lisa, let me just play this really quickly here, and then I'll take your comment because you're going to go first on this one. This is just, I didn't even have it, and I just popped into my head last minute because I called into some Democrat show on YouTube earlier, who was doing the Trump versus Biden thing, and how can you people, support this? What about the redacted name? And he's telling me on the show that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, the redacted name was Virginia Giuffre, right? So I'm gonna set you up with this one, Lisa. I'm gonna play this, and then my question to you is, if you were involved with Jeffrey Epstein and the island, no matter what, would you ever do this?
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem.
What do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
That's one question. You raised the question of Jeffrey.
So what do you think of that, Lisa? Like, would he have ever he brought up the island, and then he went and tagged on about how Bill Clinton's going to have some problems about that island. And then he, throws the dig about Prince Andrew, and I'll try to key it in at that little smile because that was great. But any thoughts on that one, Lisa?
Well, there's so much to say, I think he made a great comment, and he was obviously preempting what is to come or what is coming, and they know what's coming because I think many people actually already know the associations that Epstein had. And I mean the proper associations. I don't mean the ones where he goes to a party and somebody's there. I mean the people that he physically associated with, physically did business with, physically spent a lot of time with a pedophile. Yeah. Those are the people that have the problems, and those are the people that know what's coming. They know exactly who they are. And also all of the people that colluded with Epstein to try and kind of smear Trump because they're trying to it's like an avoidance tactics, but sometimes you can't avoid an oncoming train, you know what I mean? When you're stuck to the track, and that's what's really happening, and it's kind of might feel like it's working for them, but they got it coming to them. That's all I want to say.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mac, any comments on this one or the previous one?
Just that President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's gotten ahead of plots to obviously plant things on the Epstein to make him look like the bad guy when there's hundreds, if not thousands, of names that are being hidden. He played a clip where he admits to knowing about what happened on Epstein Island. Doesn't mean that you went, like there are rumors and then there's truth, and he must have had some really good knowledge about what was going on. He's the one that informed and helped out the FBI to kind of tell them about what Jeffrey Epstein was all about back in the day when that court case came up. Was it 2002, 6, something like that? So, I mean, he also has to take a certain stance. He can't. There's investigations going on, so this is all tied in. The COVID, the election fraud. I think there's much more that we haven't gotten to yet. There's some big reveals coming because Epstein was Lisa. I guess Lisa said it the best. He was like the launderer. He was the middleman between everything. So we've got some truth to uncover. There's a lot of people behind it, and no one's going to talk about it if they're involved. So there you go.
I got Lisa,
I think that what's happening at the moment is the money laundering side of things has been sidestepped, and the focus is more on the pedophilia and the sexual abuse of very young women. But, that is a huge subject. I'm not kind of belittling that. But I think that the money laundering that he was doing is just as big and will implicate a lot of people, a lot of agencies that he was working with. Remember, Epstein wasn't just a money launderer. He was also one of those people that advised those who had embezzled money or come across money through fraud. So he was the man who moved money around the world. And that's one thing that they don't seem to be talking about at all as yet. And that was a charge that he was up on in Florida in the first instance. And all of that got dropped. And there's a reason why it got dropped, I believe, because it just involves so many people and agencies. And like I said before, back in January, he might not be an asset for somebody like the CIA, but he would have been the perfect agent for.
Did we lose her?
Yeah, probably.
Some agency like this, so that's the way that I see it. There's a lot of people implicated, and it's a lot of people with money and those who wanted to move money. Remember, I think Adnan Khashoggi, who was one of the biggest, is one of the biggest arms dealers in the world, was one of Epstein's first clients. Like, come on, people. Look at this. We're being distracted away from the even bigger picture. I mean, I think there's at least 1,000 young ladies that say they were abused by Epstein, But imagine all the people involved in the money laundering, the sheer size of it. He also had like a club, a consultancy where he would get together people who had money and they would talk about what they wanted to do with that money. But Adnan Khashoggi, just start there. Biggest arms dealer in the world as his client, as one of his early clients, Yeah. And then, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even Peter Thiel, when he was asked about it, it was funny because, and I don't even know if it was Tucker, the one I watched, but they asked him and they were like, oh, when you met Epstein, whatever. Yeah, but that was before 2008, right? And he was like, no, actually it was after. And I'm like, like, that's no good. Like all these people, but he was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, Peter Thiel was, as being the smartest tax man in the world. You know, essentially the guy who can get around all these things and get around all your money problems.
Now, have you heard that this has been floating around these emails about with Epstein in them being possibly one of the original funders of Bitcoin? Have you guys heard that? And is it true?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Did
the thing is,
and it was in conglomeration with the CIA. So go ahead, Lisa.
Possible.
No, I was just going to say, you know, like he was very much a tech man, and he was very much a bio man as well. Let's not forget that he had an office at somewhere like Yale or Harvard or whatever it was. He had an office. You know, he was funding certain departments. And at the same time, he was in business with Peter Thiel and Ehud Barak, you know, the ex-prime minister of Israel, the one that also ran, I think it was like Unit 8200, you know, like the intel agency of intel agencies, you know, better than Mossad, you know, and he was in business with these people. It was called Carbine or Carbide. And, you know, before 9/11, you know, they were running some emergency services technology, you know, and then after 9/11, it was used to track supposed terrorists. But actually what they were doing, it was a database of all the 999 calls and all of that type of thing, you know, and they were mapping out all of that. So, you know, I think it's huge. And then you've got, you know, like J.P. Morgan. Let's not forget J.P. Morgan, you know, and Jamie Dimon and I can't remember the other guy's name who used to be like heading up Barclays. But and let's not forget Deutsche Bank. You know, and so didn't they kind of get Trump and say that he didn't pay back his loans or something with like Deutsche Bank and other banks? You know, it's like
funny how that works,
you know,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you know the fact that there was a Get Trump camp, you know, from the moment that Trump trumped Epstein with Mar-a-Lago. Epstein wanted to buy Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, yes.
Trump bought the beach in front of Mar-a-Lago and said that if he buys it, he's going to build on the beach right in front of Mar-a-Lago. And he got Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein didn't. And Epstein lived just down the road. So remember that, you know, and Epstein's one of those people, the social climber, wanted to win, always wanted to win. And he didn't win against Trump. And then you have the fact that Trump kind of threw him out or took away his membership or got him to resign from being a member of Mar-a-Lago. You know? Epstein didn't like that.
And Epstein wanted revenge. And I forwarded a clip at the bottom there.
Mr. Wolf.
With Epstein texting Democrats during a congressional hearing.
Oh yes. No, we got that. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to Miss Plaskett in a little bit, in a few minutes. But yeah, we definitely gonna cover that. So freaking disgusting. And remind me, guys, was she not the representative that had the topless shirt? Right, that was the representative out of the Virgin Islands, right, with the topless selfie or whatever it was. I'm like 99% sure. Somebody fact check me on that one. Plaskett. Representative. But so just really quickly here, billionaire financier, convicted sex offender, famously mixed with presidents, models, film stars, but he also indulged his unorthodox beliefs by cultivating top scientists, like Lisa was mentioning about all these different you know, crazy eugenics things that he was up to. But I want to play this clip, guys, and a lot of it we've heard, but I wanted to play it because there's a few things in here I have not heard. And it's a 2 minute 43 seconds, but I'm starting it at 30 seconds and I'm ending it in my notes here, I think at 2 minutes or something like that. But just listen to what this guy's got to say about the relationship. And I think one of the points is here is one of the points that Lisa just made about the bidding on the land. But I like the way he breaks this down as far as the timeline.
The 90s, so everyone wanted a picture with President Trump. He was doing it big then, and he's doing it big now. Let's just look at the president and some other big names he was with. Sorry, wrong picture. Hold on. Wrong once again. You know what? Let's get back into the timeline. Because once you follow the actual facts, the media story falls apart. Let's look at some flight logs. See, President Trump flew with Epstein 8 times. And the majority of those times was with his wife at the time, Marla Maples, their daughter Tiffany, and their son Eric, along with the nanny. All right here. And they only flew from Palm Beach to Jersey or to Washington, D.C. The president's last flight with Epstein was in 1997. And this is where we run into our...
Happens to be his last flight, guys, if you happen to notice there. Was it New Jersey or Teterboro? But that's where Trump was, Epstein was arrested, so...
7. And this is where we run into our first problem. Because see, Jeffrey Epstein didn't buy his island until 1998. So again, President Trump last flew with Jeffrey Epstein in 1997. Epstein bought his island in 1998. Now fast forward to 2004, and this is where their friendship ended, when they were both bidding for this oceanfront mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. And President Trump, like the boss he is, outbid him at $41 million. And that checks out because in 2019, President Trump said he hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. 2004, 2019, the math checks out. Now in 2007, President Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for stealing spa employees, including Virginia Giuffre, who in one of her last posts was extremely happy that Donald Trump was the president. President Trump even cooperated in 2009 in an investigation that got Epstein arrested. Fast forward to 2019, it was President Trump's DOJ that arrested Jeffrey Epstein on federal charges. That would be called the opposite of helping a friend out.
So he was sort of zesty, but I like the facts that was brought out, the fact that he stopped flying with them in 97, and he bought the island in 98. I thought that was very interesting. And then the timing about the purchasing Mar-a-Lago. So the idea that all this stuff that's coming out now is new, it's kind of laughable to me. It really is laughable. But I think we went Lisa. Mac first. Any comments on this one before we go over to your clip there?
I would agree. He's very zesty.
Zesty. That's the current term the kids are using nowadays. They don't use the G word anymore. They say he's zesty.
He's flagrant.
He's flagrant. He seemed like a nice guy. He's a little zesty, but he seems nice. Any comments on the post otherwise? Oh boy.
No, let's keep it rolling here. I think he makes some really good points.
Absolutely.
I think there is a second island of Epstein's, but I don't know any information about it. So.
Definitely was doing some business over there in New Mexico as well. Lisa, anything you wanted to comment on this one about?
Yeah, the flights, all of the flights that Trump took, none of them were to Little St. James or Pedo Island. They were all inland, like from Florida to Teterboro. Or maybe New Jersey, I'm not sure, but and then there was a time where Trump's plane broke down and he hitched a ride with Epstein. So he never kind of left America on Epstein's plane, Yep. Bill Clinton did, but Trump never did. They were all short flights, Just wanted to make that point in case anybody's forgotten, You guys
are gonna laugh here. You guys are going to laugh your keister off at this one. As much as I hate to put this slime ball on the screen, I'm definitely going to take some comments after this one. But you guys will see what I mean, and you'll see why I think it's so damn funny. We got Fang, Eric Swalwell here. He's doing his little skit where he's got somebody filming him. Oh, hey, Congressman. All right, what does he got to say? Here we go.
Hey, Congressman. What's going on? What the fuck is up with Trump calling on House Republicans to release the Epstein files?
Very, very rich, Mr. President, but let me tell you what, checkmate. I know you're more of a checkers guy than chess, but checkmate because you don't need Congress to release the Epstein files. We were doing this because you wouldn't release them. You actually have complete discretion to release all of the files. So why don't you do your job Otherwise, we're just going to assume the worst. And the worst is that you don't want all of us to see how directly connected you are to the most notorious child sex trafficker ever. Checkmate.
He said, Lisa, we'll go with you first on this one. I don't even know where to start. Checkmate?
Well,
I love it.
4 words. Bang, bang. Well, 5 words. Bang, bang, big fang, fang. You know? That's who he is.
Bang, bang, the
Just
fang,
ridiculous. Yeah, just ridiculous, really. Given the fact, you know, they had the 4 years to release the stuff. You just talked about, you know, it was everything to do with President Trump, why Epstein was actually arrested and not Epstein, Ghislaine, but also Epstein. You know, always under a Trump administration. Anytime there was a Democrat administration, nothing was happening. Nothing at all.
Oh, exactly.
Think about it.
And Mac, I'm going to take your comment, but listen to this. When I called into that Democrat show earlier, right, I said to him, why didn't the Democrats release this stuff under Biden? And he's like, well, it was sealed, so they couldn't, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, because, you know, the way they handled the impeachment thing, the January 6th stuff, they're not, you know, they're always straight by the rules, right? And I said, well, hey, which administration, I said, which administration arrested Ghislaine Maxwell? And he goes, dude, you're so low IQ, you don't even know what you're talking about. Do you know how government works? Like, that wasn't Trump and the people. That was the people inside of his administration. Do you even know how it works? And then he continued on to the next caller to say how it was basically the opposite, that Trump was sealing all these things up and keeping them sealed. And I'm like, wait, do you know how government works? Like, it's just ridiculous. But Mac, your comments on this one, and I'm going to lead you a little bit here, but anybody happen to notice here? He's talking about chess, Mac, and then he says, because you don't need Congress to release the Epstein files. We were doing this because you wouldn't release them. You actually have complete discretion to release all the files. Why didn't you do your job? But he's basically saying that he could do it as well, so we don't need you in Congress to do it, essentially. So I'm kind of dumbfounded about that. And this guy does that to me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't he know what's in the files anyway? He has access to classified stuff.
Good.
And Trump did say to release them. I'm confused. Those judges were holding up the whole process. These guys are just liars. Mm-hmm. So that everything that they wanted to get was locked up because of Kash Patel's testimony. If anyone was paying attention, he said that the judges wouldn't release it in Florida, so they need to get it through Florida. That's just one of the part of the story. So I'm really like, Swalwell is just a liar. I'm kind of don't really want to give him too much breath, other than the fact he's scared shitless of being investigated by Kash Patel, because he was asked by Eric Swalwell asked Kash Patel if he would recuse himself from investigating over 60 people, including Eric Swalwell. So we all know that he's scared of that. So he's going to weave his way through lies. So there's that.
Crazy. And we must have been raided, because I see my buddy Red Pill 78 in here in the chat, and I'm saying what's up to him now, because we already have 1,500, and that doesn't happen until usually about an hour in at least. So appreciate that. That must have been because my chat didn't catch up. But thank you for that. Oh, yeah, and I did see it now. I went back and said, Red Pill 78 has rated this stream. Appreciate that, brother. And he started off his show. I got many messages from all of our wonderful mods and friends out there that he started off our show. Did I even show you, Mac, Lisa? Did I even show you my son was on Fox News? If not, we'll get to that.
Yes, she did.
Okay, the newest one? Oh, my boy, yeah, with the hair. Maybe we'll cover that at the end. But we're going to cover this one here. This is so disgusting to me. Like, so disgusting. And did anybody fact check me in the comment section about, was Plaskett the one that had the nude pictures? I'm pretty sure it was, but let's listen to this. Or I think I have to read it, right? All right. Newly released documents reviewed by the Washington Post appear to indicate that during a 2019 hearing where Michael Cohen testified, Jeffrey Epstein was texting with Delegate Stacey Plaskett of the Virgin Islands. As the Post reviewed multiple video feeds from the hearing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. The Post reviewed multiple video feeds from the hearing and matched the texts which were sent in Pacific time with the video. So as we continue on here.
Obama, president. And while we once
Are you chewing? Is a message sent 1 minute later. Text from Jeffrey Epstein. Are you chewing? Like, okay.
Driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people would live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will
Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets.
turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You suggested you were going to
He's saying, who's Rona?
review that. Did you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out
Oh my God, she's so dumb. I'm up next. Is that an acronym? What's
the
Rona?
president's campaign, or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to
That's Trump's assistant, Rana.
2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff,
Graf.
Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements?
Yes, her office is directly next to his. She's
Oh my God.
involved in a lot.
Oh my goodness. Like, how do you walk your way off a ledge off of this one? Like, I don't know. But you know what? The media, and I'm still sticking to my guns in that the media is the biggest issue because they're going to keep ignoring things like this that we have proof on. Just imagine, I don't even know, Lisa, we'll go, sorry, I don't know if I mixed it up, but Lisa, let's just say, imagine there was some sort of protocol in there in which the media actually had to tell the truth. What a different world we would be living in today. So when President Trump talks about, the media is the enemy of the people, like, that's a very, I think, undervalued statement because they can cause so much strife and they can cause people to be loved or hated just by their repetitive reporting, whether it be good or bad. But this right here, like, she's actually texting with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I don't know. Thoughts, Lisa? I'm like literally, I don't even know what to say at this point because that is so beyond ridiculous that I don't even know where to go with that one. Like, how do you walk that one back?
She doesn't, because back in 2024, she asked a judge, somewhere around July the 3rd, 2024, she asked the judge to dismiss her from the Epstein victims lawsuit. And she just lied. And she also got she said she received a small amount of campaign contributions from Epstein and some of his associates, and that she made limited solicitations for campaign contributions and donations. Every other allegation is stated in vague and conclusory fashion, sometimes in direct contradiction of the publicly available information. So 6 plaintiffs were pursuing her back in 2024, and the lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. And the victims were granted anonymity, and they named Plaskett, Epstein's longtime employee, former Virgin Islands First Mary Cecile de Jong, and former governors Don de Jong Jr. and Kenneth Mapp, and former senators Celestino White Sr. and Carlson Dare. So basically, he had the Virgin Islands sewn up. That's what it sounds to me, And don't forget how wealthy people operate. They donate money to something, that's a pet project of some politician, and everything's all right, and they get favors and all of that kind of thing. But it sounds to me like he had her sewn up even back then, so she lied. She lied.
Big time. And that was her. So I pulled up this one, Mac. 2018.
She looks very manly on the left.
Yeah, she's got. She looks more manly than he does.
Yeah, I know.
he certainly got better
She's got
skin.
she's got a 5 o'clock shadow going on. Something.
and so former staffers plead guilty for spreading nude images of lawmaker. I remember she had like a topless thing or whatever, but
We don't need to see them. Thanks.
No. I don't. Well, this is CNN. Hopefully, they're not showing it. But
No, I'm joking.
and believe me, I don't want to see it again. Unfortunately, I did see it the first time. But one wonders, like, is maybe they had worse on her. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing about, hey, former staffers, like, hey, they got back at her for whatever, or they had a gripe with her, or maybe this was like something Epstein had. You never know. This is dipping your toe into it.
But the thing is, it doesn't say that they were taken with a long lens. You know what I mean? Like a long distance lens or anything like that. It sounds like she had nude photos taken, literally.
Yeah, right here. According to according to court documents, Juan McCullum took, quote, private nude images and videos from the cell phone of Delegate Stacey Plaskett in March of 2016 after offering to, quote, assist the delegate in repairing her malfunctioning password-protected cellular phone by taking her phone to a local Apple store. But, like, this is kind of where I'm going with this, Mac. Like, maybe, I think, probably Lisa's right. She probably had, she was already probably under Epstein's ilk, but maybe if she was pushing back, like, I don't want to go out on a limb here, and he's like, hey, you know what? Hey, you two guys, go release these, uppers of her. But yeah, we have other photos of her doing, sex acts with other people, maybe full nudes. Who knows? Like, never know what the possibility of things could be. But any comments on that, Mac, at all, or this what we're talking about?
She is definitely in the know of what Epstein probably was up to, since she's texting her. She's the representative of the Virgin Islands, which is approximately 2 miles southeast of St. Thomas, where his Epstein Island is, Little St. James.
Oh yeah.
So there is a connection there. We'll find out more later, but I feel like a lot of this though is these people have been elected into office, but they were fraudulently elected into office over time. So I feel like this Epstein thing goes in many different directions, including the elections. And we're just getting to the tip of the iceberg, really. The whole thing's all connected. That's why when you guys were talking, Lisa was talking earlier, I wanted to say, it reminds me of that Q post we always reference of the 3 movies. The pedophile stuff definitely happened, but there is also other, crimes going on that also envelop what's going on with that. So, yeah, and then with the laundering, that ties it easier in law into a grand conspiracy and a RICO case. We've talked about how there's like different crimes that have occurred through all this to be involved in the deep state and how they're going to handle it. This is one of those ways. And then you have the military way, treason and sedition.
Big time. Lisa, you sound like you want to maybe mention something.
I was just going to say, well, you've also got the laundering that goes on within the military. Remember that the Pentagon hasn't managed to balance a budget ever. Yeah, which is something that Hesketh is sorting out. So I look at it like that. It's like, look, it's like that's a huge amount of money that used to go missing from the Pentagon. What do you think's being done with that money? It has to have been laundered, right? You don't make 2 trillion of mistakes in ordering equipment and stuff like that. It's like, come on, and it's like, the military industrial complex. It's like, who are these people? Are there people involved in arms? Probably, I just think that it's probably pretty huge, and this is what he did for a living,
Oh yeah, big time.
Laundering was what he did, and then the fact that he wanted to get back at Trump and listen to the interviews with that Michael Wolff. He hated Trump in the end. At first, he loved Trump, obviously, because everybody loved Trump. 80 rap records with his name in there in the 80s or something like that. And then he hated Trump. So it just sounds to me like he was working with the Democrats, all of those Democrats that went to Epstein Island, all of the Democrat supporters that went to Epstein Island, and all the other people,
And then how it connects to the UK with Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew and all that, and then that brings in this election stuff that's been coming around.
It's
all going to be shown to be connected. So I'm very interested at how this is developing.
Well, that's why I think that Trump suing the BBC, great. Remember, we mentioned that last Monday. It's like, you need to do that. Yes, absolutely. The BBC is saying, "Oh, it's not worth suing us."
He confirmed it too this past week. He confirmed that he has the obligation to the people that it never happens again. It was on Air Force One. So I was really happy to hear that. I was like, thanks, President Trump, for answering Lisa's question.
No, doing what we said was the right thing to do. Absolutely. But the BBC are kind of pushing back and saying, "Oh well, we didn't broadcast it in America, so there's no harm done." And it's like, hold on a minute, who is the foremost, probably the most well-known and the oldest broadcasting company in the world?
BBC. I'm guessing.
Yeah, and who reads or listens to the BBC, and how influential are they? And it's like, the BBC, they're like the mouthpiece for like the intel agencies in the UK. We know about the Russia hoax and all of that kind of thing. It's like, come on, people, check this out. And like, as I said, I've said it on the show, they are always severely biased against President Trump and always have been. And then you've got to add that really the BBC is like a government and intel agency mouthpiece. That's one of the reasons that they are so biased. Yes? And the BBC has a policy. Have a look at the policy, Mr. Trump, of the BBC, saying that they're not supposed to be biased, they're supposed to be impartial, and all of that. And all of the excuses that they're given are covering up the fact that they are absolutely, completely biased. Completely. And then now we've got this Labour government, Keir Starmer, the one who sent like over 100 people over to America to campaign against President Trump. Let's not forget that. Please don't forget that. He's on his last legs at the moment. And they're going to try and send Keir Starmer over and speak to Trump and maybe smooth things over. And it's like, do not accept that. Do not accept that. Because the BBC, a lot of people around the world listen to and watch the BBC. So their reach, their footprint is absolutely huge. So what do they mean trying to say that only the people in the UK listen or watch the BBC? And all of the different newspapers that they influence and report what the BBC say, they control the narrative, They watch probably more than anybody else. So I would absolutely go for it, but I would include the Russia hoax. I would include Boris Johnson signing off on the FISA warrant and GCHQ, the CIA office, in the UK, Gina Haspel, all of that. It's all part, as Max says, it's all part of the same thing. It's all one big conspiracy where they all work together. Do not let the BBC give you some excuse because they resigned, okay. But what they're saying is that they just made a mistake. They did not make a mistake. It was absolutely blatant. And to me, it just seems like another rung on the ladder of conspiracy. And they've been at it for ages. So Russia, when was that? That started 2016. We're now in 2025. So nearly 10 years they've been at it. In 10 years, they've been targeting President Trump. If I was Trump's lawyer now, I would add all of that in. And it's like, what do you mean you haven't affected me financially and reputationally? There's a guy called Jeremy Vine. He's a presenter, and there's a footballer called Barton, Joey Barton. And Joey Barton turned around and said that Jeremy Vine was a paedophile on Twitter and repeated it twice. Guess what? He just lost in court. Oof. And he may even go to jail. And by the way, what they did, Mr. President Trump, they made out like you broke the law, and basically it would be called in the UK a hate crime. They made out as if you were a criminal. Remember that. Look at what people get arrested for in the UK, inciting violence and all of that. And that's what they did. So they portrayed you as if you had committed a crime, and they absolutely knew it. So that is the nub of the matter. Just ignore all the rest of the rubbish that they come out with. They portrayed you and spliced that information together so that you could look like a criminal as far as the UK judicial system is concerned. That's where I think you take their knees away. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but
people are getting arrested left, right, and centre. And I would say go for that. You know, don't be drawn on this he said, she said, and all of that. That's what they did.
This is crazy. And maybe I shouldn't show this post because I get a little wordy with my swears on this one. But I'll be tagging, and I have been tagging like Dan Scavino, President Trump, and be like, hey, libel over here. You know, you got Chris Murphy, you got this Weasley slimeball and his, I don't know if they're twins, but they come out of their little holes every day to bag on Trump 24/7. Listen what Chris Murphy said here. I can't even play this guy. Nope, can't listen to you.
Donald Trump was at the center of a child sex ring. That is heartbreaking.
So that's a possible libel case, like right there alone, right? And so, right here we go. That was it. That was the same post. I said, Dan Scavino here, President Trump. We got some libel over here. But guys, at the end of the day, what happened? Oh my goodness. You know, and in my opinion, I think the fighting and, you know, actually, Mac, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get to that. We have maybe a difference of opinion on this, but let me just read a little bit of this quick. As I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetuated by the radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein, but are looking at various Democrat operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. All I care about is that Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, winning big, da-da-da-da. So he basically comes back out and says, let's get out with the files. Nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive, and if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. Some, quote, members of the Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. Let's talk about the Republican Party's record-setting achievement and not fall into the Epstein trap, Mac. He says, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. So it sounds to me like he put the trap in a quote, and I think they're falling into his trap. But what are your thoughts on that?
Post, well, there's a lot I could say here, but the Q post talk about what is a trap. So we can reference that as a confirmation, little Q plus comms. where do we want to take this? Well, Trump's basically just telling everybody release it. I mean, it was a obvious ploy by the Democrats and bad people, I'll say, and entities to try to obfuscate this whole investigation because of the implications of who was involved. We know Bill Clinton was involved, and right now Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are refusing to testify, believe it or not. So, all this is falling on Democrats. President Trump is not going to fall on Republicans. It's going to fall on Democrats. So we know that there is infiltration still on the right, but the Epstein thing is a Democrat-driven thing because of everything that Lisa has been talking. We've been talking about, for a long time, but especially the show, that there's more to it than just, one particular way. There's a grandiose thing, and we're on the cusp of it. Now, I think now that Trump said, "Jay, just go release it all," I think he already did to begin with, and then. Now we can move on to the other things, which is investigating the people like Adam Schiff. I think Eric Clapper just got a lawyer. So we're getting closer and closer. So Kash Patel just revealed it. I have a clip of that. I'll send in. Go ahead, Lisa.
I was going to say Larry Summers. Isn't he like the ex-president of some big university? And he is being questioned at the moment because there are lots of young women at the university, and he was asking Epstein about his advice on getting women.
Are you serious?
That's I'm absolutely serious. It's all written down in Epstein's emails, and Epstein's emails are becoming very, very interesting. And really, that's the reason why they're trying to deflect by using Trump's relationship with Epstein, which we know finished in 1997. These people were, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman. They were having lunch with Epstein. I think it was around 2012. Well, isn't that after he was convicted of being a pedo? And all of these people, they're all associated with him for a very long time, and Prince Andrew and all of that. And it's like, very, very interesting. Maybe is that why Ghislaine Maxwell is getting a dog, maybe, while she's in prison and having a nice, easy time. I mean, who's really behind that one? Can't really give her a hard time. She might just squeal. She might just break.
This is so funny. I hadn't heard this part of it. I just saying I hadn't heard this part of it. This part is so hilarious. This is the Crimson, the Harvard Crimson magazine or article, whatever it is, on site. It says when former Harvard president Lawrence H. Summers was pursuing a romantic relationship with a woman he described as a mentee, he turned to a longtime associate for guidance, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. You know what he told him? He was like, what you got to do is you got to get a nice big bottle of chloroform, right? Some handkerchiefs. You just douse it right up there. You go behind them and you wait till they're unconscious and you throw them on a plane. Like, what kind of advice is this guy giving? Like, first you say, hey, you want to give me a massage?
He's on the Epstein list that Q Post mentions.
Oh, yeah, he was also one of the people that Trump mentioned.
Yeah,
in his truth. And Reid Hoffman, let's not forget him, the guy who owns LinkedIn, the guy who paid for Miss Carroll to have her case against Trump for raping her in Bloomingdale's in a cupboard just outside just inside the front door. Reid Hoffman was the one that paid for all of that. And he was the one that organized the lunch with Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Epstein to try and redress or redo Epstein's image. Yes. So, Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's going to get very interesting. You know, maybe that's why President Trump's saying it's not interesting.
Exactly. Hey, whatever he says, they, and remember in the beginning he was talking about it and they weren't biting on it at all. And it took for him to sit there and go, there's nothing to it. Nah, we don't want to see it. Don't worry about it. It's a hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. They've been salivating at it ever since. And guess what? Now they got what they got. Actually, you know what, Mac, before I go on to this next one, did you want to talk about MTG a little bit? Because, I'll just put my position out there. I look at that as, and, I've never, as much as everybody kind of used to love her, maybe not Mac and Lisa, I'm not sure. But I was never, a huge, like, oh my God, she's so great. And I'm not really like that with celebrities anyways. But for me, I was never a big fan of her anyway, but like, I don't look at her in the fight. I look at her in the fight like the same as I do with Elon. I think it's made to make him look bad. It's because it's like, oh, hey, one of your most ardent supporters, you're like one of these QAnon screwballs here. Even she used to back everything, and now even she's against you. And then she goes on The View and gives her opinion and whatever. So I'm looking at it like, hey, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, but that's the excuse without an explanation. Like, she obviously has an agenda. She isn't just saying, yes, President Trump. She has goals and aspirations. So this originally started, President Trump sent her a poll that showed her way down, and she wants to run for the Senate now. And she took that as an insult and then went on The View, went on all these things, made all these statements, said, she's not MAGA, she's America first, America only. Ironically, America First is a President Trump slogan. So now you're seeing the division inside of the attempt of division inside of MAGA. Then you pay attention to all the social influencers that were chirping during this time trying to defend her. That shows you the network of paid individuals that are helping prop her up and save her image.
That's a very strong possibility too. Yeah, I like that angle.
So her actual agenda is to be in a Senate position, and she's just one piece of the pie. There's a whole network of them. Like we talk about the people that support each other in the backgrounds. We've seen that they do it a lot of times through interviews or through posts online, and you can tell, or it's very obvious who they're aligned with. So in the end, I think she's a piece of the puzzle for a presidential run by someone associated to that group of people that are behind this America First. So keep an eye on, because President Trump, he's already kind of likes Marco and Vance, and now this is the competition of that. So I see whatever President Trump is aligning himself with as the direction we should take it, not, ruffle a bunch of feathers. It took all this time to bring everybody together, and now we got more disruption coming along, and it's inside the party, and these are the disruptors, the people that are paid to do that. And it's like a psychological operation that I don't agree with, but we're all going to see it, and we have to recognize it, because once you recognize it, they get shut down. They have to come out with something else. So that's my spiel.
No, I like it.
Well,
I like that spiel. Lisa, how about you? What's your take on the whole thing?
Well, I just look at the, how long has this Epstein thing been around? Yeah, a long time, since the early 2000s. Now, how long has Marjorie Taylor Greene been a politician? Does anybody know? I don't. I really am asking the question. I don't.
How long has MTG been around?
2014, maybe, right.
Oh,
around Q, 2018, 2017, I think. She was in the Q movement. Then she said she knew nothing about it and thought it was a psyop. And then she's completely distanced herself from that. And she just keeps changing her agenda. She was against PPP loans, but her company in the background is worth $20 million. Got a PPP loan and didn't have to pay it back. Meanwhile, in the public, she's saying no to PPP loans. So that to me is a two-faced liar.
And actually, just really quickly, Lisa. So I wanted to check just so make sure we're giving out proper information here. And I thought, like you, Mac, I thought it was 18, but it says she didn't actually start. She joined Congress on January 3rd of 2021 when she was sworn in as a representative of Georgia's 14th district. So January 3rd, 21. So she was essentially, before that, she was not into politics at all that I'm aware of. I don't think she was even locally. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the chat if you think so. I'm going to check her wiki while you speak, Lisa. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Right, I was going to say, so how long did it take her to really care about Epstein's victims?
Looks like
Because
5
that's
years.
what she's saying. She's saying that she's doing what she's doing because she really cares about Epstein's victims. So, all the time that Ghislaine Maxwell was in court, did we hear anything from Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I don't think so. No.
I don't remember. I don't remember not a peep about Epstein. And all of a sudden in 2025, in the last few months, she's joined Thomas Massey. And it's like, I'm not saying don't support the victims. I'm just saying it took her a long time to get around to, when people care, they really care. And it's like, well, those victims have been around for a while and we're only just hearing about it now from that quarter. I'd say, look at that, Look at that. If it's something that somebody's so passionate about, why does it take them so long to speak up? Because I think we've been talking about Epstein and the victims and pedophiles and, protecting children and caring about children and all of that for as long as we've been doing this show. And I know even before then. So I'm just saying, look at that. That tells you a lot. It tells you that somebody's got a game going on because they're a bit late to the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
A bit late to the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And let me thank Miller Biz, who dropped the $5 Rumble rant on Rumble, of course, and it says my two favorites together, Space Shot and Red Pill 78. Appreciate that, Miller Biz. And so yeah, I mean, I was asking the people in the chat too, like what they thought about it. So I just want to see yes, guys, please have respect for others in the chat. Comment. We're not Nazis over here, but we don't want some lewd and lascivious language. Por favoro. So let's see. We got Just the Truth says fake. Wengel says totally fake. Distraction campaigns that brings on the inevitable. John F. Kennedy. Let's see a few other people here. So yeah, I mean, playing her role, fight is fake. Dina Marie 66 said, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely good ways, and I do like your angle there, Mac, because then you can also take that down.
My question is fake how?
Yeah,
no. In what way? Like to ruin her own career? Because you're going to see that it's not going to do her well to go against Trump. So
exactly.
She's burying herself now and trying to appease the Democratic Party. Representative Haskin today invited her over the Democratic Party. So to me, I feel like this is the showing of a true implant, like an infiltrator, someone that doesn't care about the values that she was voted to be in office for.
It's very possible. It's very
the
possible.
kayfabe part is her Twitter posts and complaint. Now, President Trump, I hope you play his response to her thinking that her life is in danger, because that'll put things into perspective a little bit. But go ahead.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. So what I was basically saying was I like what you said there, too. And you talk about the network of people that are supporting her. So, this is a good little lesson for when we have certain things like this happen, guys and gals out there. When you see certain people that were historically supporting President Trump and then all of a sudden stop supporting him, make a mental note. Who are the people that are agreeing with this person that flipped the switch? Because you could also have that two ways too, Mac, right? You could also have something that basically, gets exposed and I guess, I don't know if that will ever come to a point where you have like, oh yeah, I was basically working with President Trump to reveal this. But you could have certain people, like you said, that are backing her up and they're all in the same boat together. And all of those people could be on the same side as far as making the kayfabe as well. So you can't really discount anything, but I'm not discounting your opinion on it either. Because, like I said, I've never really been a big fan of hers.
It just doesn't make sense to have division right now. It's a huge distraction to what Trump's doing. And bringing up Epstein and stuff. This has to do with her running. So
Mhm.
she's completely. She said, President Trump said, "Hey, what did she tried to contact the office, and then she said she didn't." And he's like, "We've got the White House records. What are you talking about?" So there's more agenda here than what meets the eye. You just got to read through the lines, and it's not supportive of bringing everyone together. This is inside of the Republican Party, inside of MAGA, and they're unhappy because they were forced to become MAGA, even though they didn't want to, probably because everyone else was doing it. It's a cool thing. This is how society works a lot of time. Culture works. So this is the exposure of those people who've had enough of waiting patiently because they're not really true in what they say. To me, that it's a blatant admission there. It's very much like the same with like the Nick Fuentes guy. He talks. He's a shock jockey. That's like his job. So I don't know what he's like when the cameras are off, but he's there for shock value. Marjorie Taylor Greene's exactly the same, but she's a politician. I think originally they were like actors and stuff in a talent agency, like Candace Owens and stuff. Remember that floating around Twitter a long time ago?
Oh, with the yeah. See, I don't know. I couldn't verify that 100%, but
yeah, that's why it's always in the back of my mind. But it's those people, they were all together in that. It's crazy.
Scott Pressler and all that. I was gonna move it. I'm actually staying on the trafficking side of things, but this is kind of moving towards the border. But Lisa, did you want to add anything? You good?
No.
Okay,
You're fine. Megyn Kelly. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
They're only 13 or they're 17, 16. That's fine, right?
Yeah, trying to talk away the fact that he was a pedophile.
Yeah, they weren't children, but they were like, it's like, oh my God, no, I don't know. I don't get it. But
so, real quick, if we want to later or now, whichever you want to, but the two truths that President Trump talked about, I thought there were some comms in there, and we can talk about it. But if you got some other stuff to call, we can circle back around.
Is it on? What's the? Do you know what the topic is on those?
It's about Margie Taylor Greene, but he uses the word rot, and he calls her a traitor, which are Q kind of things.
All right, let's go with
green is also another Q thing. He misspells green, missing E.
I thought I did think this one was weird when I read it too. So it says wacky Marjorie Trader Brown, and then it says remember Green turns to brown when there was rot involved. I found that was very weird. It says is working overtime to try and portray herself as a victim when in actuality she's the cause of her own problems. The fact is nobody cares about this traitor to our country. I think there is more to that too. So the brown.
Yeah, the green might have been. Some messages aren't meant for us, but I've noticed these symbolic kind of. There could be comms, but they're not meant for. So I don't know what they actually mean. But green right here could mean like go. They just had the largest aircraft carrier off Venezuela arrive. So they usually don't talk about military operations till days after. Rot. There's multiple meanings here. I love to hear you guys take on what a rot is. It could even be a military term, like a soldier term. Not sure. But I just found it very just totally odd. Green grass turns brown when it begins to rot, and then the other one he said the same thing. In the previous one, which is right below it in the chat, a little longer, and it mentions Thomas Massey, Rand Paul Jr., rhinos. So go ahead.
Thomas Massey, who got caught being a full-fledged Republican in name only, make America great again. So yeah, I'm just looking. I was actually looking through the drops, and I see one here on. It happens to be November 5th, but it's that stringer with the coordinates, and then it says confirmed UDT green. Godspeed. So that, if I pull this up on the screen here really quick just to show you, that could look like, a go code, right? But that allegedly back then was, by the way, I remember it, them going to take out one of the Rothschilds or something like that, and then basically them being blown out of the sky, the Captain Green. That's what we were told back then as well. But I don't know. Anything, what do you got on that, Lisa? Anything on the brown or the green? Because to me, it doesn't seem as just a normal, like, why would he bring up brown and then rot? I don't know, just very weird to me.
Well, There is another meaning. think I said it to you today, Mike.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it.
Return on trust. So it's like a term used in marketing and branding, and they say, you know, your brand will do the right kind of rotting, you know, which means that it'll get a solid return on the trust that people have in your brand. You know, so if you've got return on trust like rot, you know, then you'll just get more attention. You'll attract more new business. You know, you'll close deals quickly. People might buy your product, even if it costs a little bit more money, because of the trust that they have in your brand, and that it will ripen. You know. At a later date, you'll just get a lot of money back, you know, return on trust, you know, and people that trust a brand, you know, they'll go back to that brand, if that makes sense. So maybe, yeah, maybe, you know, like, what does fruit do? It goes brown, right, when it rots, or when it ripens. So I don't know. Maybe there's a double meaning in there.
Definitely goes brownish when it goes bad. But yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, if anybody has any inklings or decodes, I looked at.
I've got one.
I looked for the usual suspects. But what do you got? What do you got on that one?
Root of trust. It is used in U.S. election voting machines. Voting systems across the country rely on a combination of air-gapped machines, voter verifiable paper ballots, and rigorous procedural safeguards to establish trust. Most jurisdictions use optical scanners that read hand-marked paper ballots, ensuring a physical record exists for audits and recounts. It goes on a little bit. Vast majority of U.S. voting machines are not connected to the internet, minimizing remote hacking risks. According to Verified Voting, nearly 98.6% of registered voters are in jurisdictions with a paper ballot trail. While no system is entirely tamper-proof, experts agree that the layered security and transparency measures make large-scale election manipulation highly improbable, which we know is not true. So that's just the AI covering its own butt. But isn't that interesting? Now, what state is Marjorie Taylor Greene from?
Georgia.
And how much corruption's in Georgia?
I would say
the size of what's her name, Abrams?
Stacey Abrams. That's a big woman. Big back. We call her big back.
Was it she? Yeah, wasn't she in Georgia?
Yes.
She did in Georgia.
So maybe this is Trump hinting at he knows about the how she got in. Maybe that we know both sides have cheated. They put the people in that are placed. So I'm curious. Obviously, it's just a theory. This is just a little research and reading what Trump's getting at. But I liked also what Lisa said.
Now check this out, guys. Did you happen to see this one here? Marjorie Taylor Greene. They dropped this video at she's at 9/11, and she's in Rome, Georgia. Did we cover that last week? Was that a story yet? For the Bibi Netanyahu reading the book about Rome and how we need to beat them this time. And it's like, for anybody in the back of the room, if you're not catching the hint, we're Rome. We're Rome. So that means that he needs to take us out. Like, I'm reading that whole thing of, the Israel for last like crazy. But I just thought it was interesting. It says, oh, hey, she's coming in. She's calling from Rome, Georgia, right here. Rome, Georgia.
So I was doing this dig on the fly because I knew we'd hopefully cover this. But then I just asked, AI's Georgia elections use root of trust, and they do. So Georgia uses Dominion Democracy Suite 5.10 voting machines that produce voter verifiable paper ballots, which served as the official record for audits and recounts. So there you got another little clue in how they could rig the system.
Trusted build my keister. And yeah, so this one, guys, I think you're gonna really enjoy. This should never have gotten out of control as bad as it did, and hopefully the audio is good on this one. Here we go.
ICE announcing a brand new operation to conduct welfare checks on the 450,000 children that the Biden administration placed with unvetted sponsors, some of whom were sex traffickers, gang members, and abusers. The Trump administration has already located more than 24,400 children, and some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking, like this one. A 1-year-old unaccompanied minor crossed the border during the Obama administration. That little girl is now 12 years old. During her 11 years in America, she lived with a series of relatives and endured horrifying abuse. According to Fox's Brooke Taylor, she was found in the custody of 2 sisters who have now been arrested. The 12-year-old was found, quote, with injuries all over her body, extreme malnutrition, and an infected gash on her head and zip ties around her wrist. Among those who abused this innocent child were her one-time sponsor, a distant uncle that she was placed with in 2024, despite being an illegal immigrant with a criminal conviction. That sponsor, that alleged abuser, was given temporary protected status by the Biden administration. Why? Here is video that Brooke Taylor obtained of the Trump administration arresting that man just yesterday. This is just one of the nearly 500,000 children that the Trump administration is seeking to protect. And this operation comes after the administration announced that Operation Dirtbag, conducted in partnership with the state of Florida, resulted in the arrest of 230 criminal illegal immigrants, including 150 sexual predators. Here was Deputy ICE Director Madison Sheehan announcing that development.
In just 10 days, we've been able to remove, in partnership with the state of Florida, over 230 of the worst heinous criminals from their streets. Our job as law enforcement is to protect the most vulnerable. Democrats will tell you that that is the criminal illegal aliens who they have let run free in our communities, but not this group of law enforcement. We know that it's the children that is our job to protect.
Wow. Guys, and I guess Lisa, we'll go with you first on this one. Did you guys catch that part in the beginning where they talked about, she said there was a 1-year-old unaccompanied minor? Did I hear that right? A 1-year-old unaccompanied minor? Like, how the hell does that even happen? How does a 1-year-old make its way to the border? You know what I mean? Like, and the funny thing is, I didn't even hear the end of it where it says dirtbag. I think in another post I said that these dirt bags or dirt balls need to all be in jail, and I didn't even say it.
Operation Dirtbag.
I didn't even see that. I think I posted another place where I said basically these dirt bags or dirt balls, I usually use dirt balls, need to be in jail for the rest of their life. But much needed to be done, right? I mean, comments, Lisa?
Yeah, a lot needs to be done, and it's good that they are doing it. And it was reported this week that I think it's like Charlotte in Carolina has become like ground zero for human trafficking. Like,
where's the Super Bowl this year?
Well, and that's it. You know, the superb owl. You know,
where is that this year? I don't even know where it's going to be this year. Mac, do you know off the top of your head?
What's that?
The Super Bowl? Yeah, where it's going to be this year.
I don't know right now.
Because that would make sense if it happens to be Super Bowl 2026. Doesn't say where it's going to be. Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. I think that's the Rose Bowl. But yeah, that's on the other side of the world. But I wouldn't have doubted it, that would have brought it in. But the fact that they're actually going to start going and try to track some of these things. But at least, I mean, out of 450,000 kids, unfortunately, very, very unfortunately, there's no way they're going to track all these kids. There's no way. And I have a bad feeling that they're going to be missing a lot of these kids at the end of the day.
I think Trump's already said that. He's said, unfortunately, we're probably going to find, and this is going back probably during his campaign for the presidency. I can remember him saying that, we're probably not going to find them all, and unfortunately some of them are probably already dead by now. But I just think it's interesting that Charlotte in Carolina is coming up. North Carolina, 301 human trafficking cases in 2024, involving 580 victims. And I remember during Hurricane Helene, one of the most notorious child traffickers was caught in North Carolina. North Carolina Warrior, you'll probably be able to correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure that one of the foremost traffickers, pedophiles, was caught in North Carolina during, I think it was during Hurricane Helene. And what they're saying is that, it's just because of, like the highways, meet the convergence of highways and the need for cheap agricultural labor and gang activity. And don't forget, I think just recently, the ICE have been sent into Carolina and maybe some other agencies, but they are cleaning up and they've just started, But I'll send you an article, but it is very interesting, So they had last year, I think 106 minors were trafficked in Charlotte last year, and about half of whom were aged 15 or younger. This is nearly double the 45 to 60 children identified annually between 2018 and 2022. And that's from the Metro Human Trafficking Task Force. And then statewide, the National Human Trafficking Hotline, North Carolina, I think. Oh, no. Yeah. Recorded 301 human trafficking cases in North Carolina in 2024, involving those 580 victims. And I think ICE and the DHS, they've just been sent in and they're raiding homes and businesses as we speak. And I'm sure that the people of North Carolina are very happy about that.
I would
very happy about that.
I would say, and Mac, I'm not going to change the subject, but just kind of perusing the interwebs for this stuff, I found North Carolina women caught with over 100 pounds of methamphetamine in Clinton County. So I just thought that was pretty funny in North Carolina. But I think this may be what Lisa's talking about, Mac, and then we'll get your comment here.
Sell drugs too.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody saw that thing about the woman from Miami, they did a show on it. I forgot the name, but video shows ICE encounters in Charlotte. 81 arrests made. So this is ICE that you were talking about coming into the area. Weekend of a surge.
Go ahead.
I'm just looking at it with some confrontations and wild incidents. So this is basically mostly criminal offenders who are in the country unlawfully. So basically illegals that are here. So ICE encounters, they're working there. They got 100 pounds of drugs. But the main part about that, of course, was all these unaccompanied minors. The almost 500,000 that came through our border, bro. I mean, I can't believe it.
I saw a Twitter post or X post today. And I don't know how true this is, but I'm pretty sure it's verified. Charlotte, North Carolina officials confirmed that out of the 900,000 residents living in the city, over 150 of them are foreign-born.
These.
So a lot of trafficking has been going on in Charlotte.
And then don't forget, one of the greatest kind of covers for trafficking is whenever there is a disaster. Think about that now. Hurricane Helene, big disaster, child trafficking. Yes? Haiti, big disaster, child trafficking. Anytime there's a war, child trafficking. Yeah?
Unreal.
Where's the Vanderbilt home?
Creepy place. Unreal. I got some interesting stuff here too. I also have one from Debbie and Weezy. Debbie and Weezy both sent me one interesting. But I think we're not there just yet for those stories. Just a little quick disinformation. You guys remember Martina Navratilova? She was the tennis woman. Probably one of the best women.
Yeah.
She says it with a straight face and a cross around her neck. It's not President Trump who's in the Epstein emails. It's another person with the same name. And I think I wrote something like, "Yeah, stick to tennis." Yeah, right here. Stick to tennis. Like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, okay. So they're gonna say that's the excuse. They're gonna say, "Oh no, no, no. It was another guy named President Trump or Donald Trump, not him." Okay.
Yeah, Trump's like a witness almost in this whole thing, so he's got to
Yes.
keep his mouth shut. I mean, he is an active witness. If he was part of the prosecution, or if I was a prosecutor lawyer, he'd be a person I'd call up to testify. So he can't speak about this stuff. All he can do is direct them to his DOJ. He's in control of the DOJ. He trusts Pam Bondi and Kash Patel to do their jobs. He gets updates. And we even got hints in the Q post that he has to be, neutral.
Yep.
In so many words.
Yeah, President Trump will not be commenting on this as he needs to appear. I believe the word was neutral too. I think one of you guys had dropped this to me. I'm not sure. One of you guys maybe dropped the Anna Pauline Luna post into the Telegram. But it's from today. It says Bill and Hillary Clinton are refusing to appear before House oversight for their depositions regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Notice how House Democrats suddenly have nothing to say about it. Huh. Should they both be arrested that this guy's saying down here? Yeah. There's no way if they ever had, say, President Trump needs to come in for this stuff and it was regarding Jeffrey Epstein, and if he said, no, I'm not going to come in and testify about this, you're telling me this wouldn't be on every single CNN, MSNBC, all of them, right? It would be plastered over absolutely every single one of them, but yet the media is going to remain silent on this stuff.
Guess who's on Bill Clinton's Secret Service that we know?
Bongino?
Yeah.
What? Wasn't he on hers or?
Dan Bongino served in the United States Secret Service during the administration of President Bill Clinton. He joined the Secret Service in 1999, which during Clinton's second term initially worked in the New York field office investigating financial crimes before later being assigned to the Presidential Protection Division in 2006. Secret Service career spanned the administrations of Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama.
I'm going to scan my memory. I think I do remember him talking about being around Hillary and Bill. I believe I remember, and I'm just going off of memory. Lisa, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think I remember him saying something about Hillary. Actually, I'm sure I've got it. I just can't bother to look for it right now. But I think he did say something. And there was Hillary's bodyguard that said something about children. Does anybody remember that? He was on he was on like a news show, and I'm sure he talked about children. He didn't say any nice things about her,
No.
But it is interesting what the press are actually ignoring. So they're pushing everybody that's saying Trump, Epstein. They didn't say anything much about Plaskett, who you played the video.
Yeah.
And they're not saying much about all of these things either. And neither is the BBC, who are not biased, remember?
Yeah, correct, right? What is this one? Okay. I got to do a better job of labeling my stories a little bit
just
better.
To clarify, if I implied the wrong thing, he did not serve under Bill Clinton's presidential protection, though.
Yeah, I could have sworn that, like Lisa was saying, that he
was
did
assigned
something
to protect Hillary Clinton. Yep, like you said.
Yeah, I was just going off of memory, and this is something else I'm going off of memory. So you guys either can correct me or the chat can correct me. I remember this when I originally looked at like the Epstein flight logs and stuff like that. I remember, wasn't Hillary on the flight logs more than Bill was? Just how I remember it for some reason. Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering it incorrectly, but that's how I remember it. Let's take a look. Speaking of,
she's suspected to be one of the potential women in the Q post of Epstein's security camera. Remember that? But we're not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure exactly who that was. Let's listen to this little interview here. I will reveal the screen for the folks, and they can see what. Remember, we had certain groups of people out there, a guy affiliated with the Blaze Media, saying that this is a woman and that's the Capitol Police woman, and then we had a somewhat cryptic post that makes that information that we got that this is that specific Capitol Police woman seem like it wasn't her. But let's listen to Cash.
And we've been working like we have with the deputy director to unearth that. And as it relates to major investigations of public importance like the pipe bomber, again, I say, stay tuned. We reviewed every single investigation of public consequence, reopened them, reevaluated them, because we feel it cannot go untouched. We are not going to let these things lay by and allow the fake news media to run roughshod over us. Our indictments speak powerfully in court. If you don't believe us, just look at the response that the Eastern District of Virginia under Lindsey Halligan did to James Comey, and look at the notes and publication of evidence. That's the type of material we have, but we have to safeguard our prosecutions because the ultimate accountability is with the verdict in a jury room.
Understood.
And we've been working.
Okay, thoughts on that one, guys? Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to just take it back to Dan Bongino for a second.
Sure.
He said, she was evil. That's Dan Bongino on Hillary Clinton. And remember that QPulse 4572 says, trust Dan. And everybody kept on thinking it was Dan Scavino. Maybe it's Dan Bongino. He said, I worked with Hillary Clinton. She was evil. The stories agents around her have and have kept bolted up inside are horrendous. Working on her detail was generally considered a punishment assignment. You will never meet a more mercenary and destructive public figure in your lifetime. She hates you. All of you. Dan Bongino. And I just sent you there's a couple of really short videos, you know.
She was well hated by the Secret Service back in the day.
Yeah, I heard
there are
she smells.
stories upon stories
right?
that I heard in real life from people that I knew, like, you know, whatever, just stories coming up because, you know, Hillary was not well liked. And they were like, why isn't she? And then people be like, she's hated in the Secret Service.
I could play that video too because this post was actually removed, but it was reposted underneath. So just so you guys are aware of what if I play it, I'll get like copyright bounced off of YouTube. But it's the Phil Collins song, I was there and I know what you did. I saw her with my own two eyes. I forgot what the name of that, what the rest of that one goes on to. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, and that's like the video of Trump pulling up to Mar-a-Lago and going off and basically traveling around. So it looks to be a video that was made by Dan Scavino back then, but you just never know. But you got a few videos within this one here, Lisa. This would want to play here?
Yeah, there's quite a few there. But you know.
Let's see what we got.
You ready?
Oh god, no.
You have to worry about copyright.
Yeah, there we go. Are you ready? Team Gen X.
That's just a GIF.
No, don't play that. They're so bad at it too, and it's just like they hit you with absolutely every single stupid thing here. What do we got? We got music on this one?
We're playing Name That Tune tonight.
All right, here we go. Yeah, play and Name That Tune. That's fair use. Work with Hillary Clinton. She was evil. This is one you just read, right? Yeah, she hates you, all of you. You will never meet a more mercenary and destructive public figure in your lifetime. Generally considered a punishment assignment. Oh my word. Now let's see. Let's see. What does it say? Turn about is fair play. How long has Dan been waiting for this? Back when he had hair, apparently. Let's see what else we got. Anything? All right, this is just it. I just don't want to get stupid.
No, that's
songs.
it. That's it. Yeah, don't play any. Don't play any.
Definitely a lot younger then. Yeah, that was what early or late 90s, right? 96, 7, 8, something like that, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. Not great reviews.
It's like Elizabeth Warren at the other side of him with the pearl necklace or the necklace on.
Dan looks
Yeah.
so different now.
Yeah.
He's even got one eyebrow raised up. Doing like the little look to the side there. But yeah, I would have played that. But yeah, there's so much stuff coming on, and yeah, that clearly she was not a good person. Smelled, I heard a lot like rotten cabbage or something like that. I don't know. There was many different descriptions that she smelled like. Some people said she smelled like that. Didn't even Huma say she smells or something along those lines as well? So yeah, I thought that was pretty ripe. Let's see. Let's get to this one here really quick because where's the one that Wheezy dropped? All right, we're going for the one Debbie had dropped this one for me earlier, so I thought this was pretty interesting. So basically, this one leads to this story from. Oh, come back. This one leads to the story from. There we go. From Joe Hoft or whatever, but it says Jack Smith may have handed President Trump the golden key to pardon Tina Peters. Well, because he basically did some investigative into it and basically made that part of a federal case, essentially. An analysis of the recent data from the Arctic Frost documentation, which includes Jack Smith's list of conservatives he spied on, reveals some shocking information. The House Judiciary Committee began releasing a list of individuals who Jack Smith and the Biden administration illegally spied on. One significant finding has emerged. The Arctic Frost and document an inventory of Americans spied on by Jack Smith features a unique entry on page 101. Believe that this entry refers to Tina Peters. In the list of those illegally spied on is a line that lists Mike Lindell, and it includes a reference to Mesa County. Mike Lindell, outside Trump advisor, Mesa County. Mike Lindell was with Tina Peters for some time. He invited Tina to the symposium in South Dakota. That was the first time we heard of Tina, a clerk who basically made the copy of the trusted of the Dominion machine before they had what they call the trusted build, which essentially wipes away all the rest of the crimes that they did. Her big crime was she took a forensic copy of that machine before they did it, so she had evidence of what the machine looked like before and after that trusted build. And by all accounts, she's a hero, and she should not be in jail. So with this, can he basically go in there and say, well, hey, now she's a federal whistleblower, and that way we don't have to go firing a bunch of everybody in the federal government that has been vaxxed, if anybody saw yesterday's video. Oh, goodness.
Did they get Tina Peters on who she shared it with? Was that not the issue?
It came to, I think at the end of the day, it came down to
not that she made a copy, but the fact that she shared it with somebody else. You know, as an official, she can probably do that, but then when it comes to the data and sharing it, maybe that was what they used. I just remember the symposium because they were going to display some information, and then all of a sudden somebody's lawyer said, you can't be involved in that. And I think that might be what they got her on, sharing the information, you know?
Well, I remember originally they were saying it was the use of other credentials because I believe that they were like either locked her credentials out. And yeah, I mean, well, I also got the ChatGPT here. It says she was convicted of 3 counts of attempted to influence a public servant, 1 count of conspiracy to commit criminal impersonation. So that impersonation thing is her using the key card to get into a room because essentially they had her blocked off. That's how I remember it. They had her credentials blocked off or denied so she couldn't get in there, right?
Yeah, she was like investigating the election fraud, and she uses somebody else's security badge. Then she was also arrested in 2022, obstructing officers who were executing a warrant to seize her iPad, which she allegedly used to record a prohibited court hearing. Okay. That's very interesting. We don't know what court hearing, but
they just let you go in with into a courtroom with an iPad and start filming. Like, yeah, it sounds a little suspect. But at the end of the day, she should not be in prison. She should be out, especially what she tried to do, which was just basically keep the elections fair. And that was the whole thing. It's like that's the one piece of evidence that crushes everything, right? When you can hand somebody, look, here's the machine before they mess with it. Here's the exact copy of everything inside and out. And then here's the copy of the machine inside and out of what they did afterwards. That's like case closed right there.
It's to smear her. I think she probably has evidence, obviously. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she can't then testify, but now, with this, or be considered a credible witness because of the tampering charges and all that stuff. So they're trying to discredit her, definitely.
100%, and shut her up. Of course, putting her in prison. They sentenced her to 9 years, and as I believe she's in her 70s, I want to say.
Yeah.
Peters, and I'm asking ChatGPT because I think they can get it at least that name. Yes. But yeah, I mean, she's 70 exact years old as of November of 2025. So yes, and she was actually born. Wow. This is crazy. She was actually born on September 11th. Huh. That's an interesting one. Born on September 11th, 1955. Go back to the Back to the Future date, 1955, and of course we all know about the September 11th date and what that means. But yeah, all right, guys. So as we're kind of winding down the show, I do this a little later normally, but I don't want to. I want to make sure we do cover everything that we have. So MaQaveli, look over anything that you do want to cover, and I just want to also thank Greg3012, who is your country mate there, Lisa, who dropped a $20 Rumble rant. Says love all, and so thank you for that, Greg. And I still have plenty of stories. I said, hey, Greg, I still have plenty of stories that I can cover too, but I always want to make sure if there's anything in particular that you guys want to get out that we can get out as well. But yeah, and so I'll do this as you guys are kind of looking through your stuff or whatever. But this was pretty interesting. This is not the same one I played earlier. It's the same gaggle. Love that word. It's a gaggle. It's not the same interview, but it's the same gaggle. So take a listen here.
And I've had personal talks with some Democrats. I can't tell you who they are. I just don't want to do that. It's not fair to them. About paying large amounts of dollars back to the people. You know, this was my idea. It came up during that. You know, oftentimes under times of stress, like the shutdown, you come up with great ideas that you wouldn't have thought of before. The insurance companies are making a fortune. Their stock is up over 1,000% over a short period of time. They are taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're not really putting it back, certainly not like they should. So when I see this, and when I've seen this over the last pretty short period of time, I said, why do we just pay this money directly to the people of our country and let them buy their own health insurance? And you know, I made that statement, and I made it a little bit cavalierly, but it sounded good. And everybody has picked it up, including Democrats. And I am talking to some Democrats right now about doing that. People love it. We're going to take the money. Well, if it gets approved, we're going to take the money. We're going to pay it back to the people of our country to go out and buy health insurance. Now, they can put it in a health account. We can do it a lot of different ways. But they buy their own health insurance. They can negotiate price. And it's going to be locked, so they can't go out and buy a Cadillac. They can go out and buy health insurance.
Unreal. So Obamacare, you basically have President Trump working even with Democrats to kind of kibosh that system. And don't even get me started on how much work needs to be done in the medical industry as far as, I mean, I think they need to kind of go after the pricing things on some of these things because, you know, you spend a few days in an emergency room or you spend a few days in a hospital, you're talking multiples, tens of thousands of dollars, right? My buddy broke his leg, got hit by a car, broke his leg pretty bad. He was in the hospital for like, I think it was 4 days or 5 days. I think his bill, if it wasn't covered, was going to be something close to like $97,000, right? And that's a few days in the hospital. So they definitely need to work on, I would say, prescription medicine prices and, you know, all the equipment too. And all this stuff about, you know, MRIs and stuff like that. I mean, thankfully, I'm not even going to say anything about tests I've had to take or not had to take, but you know, last I heard, it's like minimum $500 for like a copay on one of these things, right? MRIs, they're always like super expensive. It's like, why? Because these machines are super expensive, and it always comes down to the citizen And it should lie on these people who are making hundreds of billions of dollars and getting these crazy amounts of bonuses every year, like we've seen in Congress, highlighted in the last many years. Oh, hey, what'd you make last year? Oh, was it about $80 billion or $80 million? Was that your bonus last year? These people are making way too much money. But Lisa, any thoughts on the medical thing and what he's trying to do here?
Yeah, I think he is trying to bring the prices down. People were complaining, saying that a specific person actually saying that he invited Albert Bourla, Mr. Pfizer, to the White House and other people from Eli Lilly and all of that. And, what was he trying to do? He was trying to bring down prices, and that's what he talked to them about. Remember, he gave them an ultimatum, and so that's happening. But the whole system, the whole American system, is all about other people making money from the people. Yeah, without a doubt. It's expensive, probably because the hospitals know that they can, they're in cahoots with the insurance companies. The insurance companies will sanction certain things. Certain people make money because they're shareholders. They got equity in these companies. I think we touched on it last week. It's ridiculous, but the whole thing needs scrapping and starting again. Have a look what I put in the bottom of the channel.
All they got to do is get rid of Obamacare and take it back to what was before. I think we'll be all right. And I'm sure there's some revamping of that old system, but it's just going to be a new and improved way of doing business. And like you said, the money's going right to the people. No more middlemen. That's fantastic. And then we get to choose where we get to what programs we want. So I don't know if that means like there's money left over or what, but you get to like set it aside if you don't use it all. But it's I think it's a fair way of doing things, and I think through tariffs, a lot of this will pay for itself as well.
Yeah, and remember, guys, too, under Obama. I think it's still under Obamacare. If you can't afford it, it used to be like a $2,000 fine. Remember that?
Yeah, and Lisa's spot on with the overcharging. They were in cahoots, and they are. I think it's that proved it with the jabs. With COVID. So you got paid more if a person went all the way to the ventilator.
Yeah.
So so that exposed that hypocrisy and that fraud.
Like $30,000 when you got put on a ventilator. And Lisa, I'm going to get over to that in literally about 20 seconds. But
38,000.
Yeah, was it 38,000?
Like that. 38,000.
Talk about an incentive. I mean, and so look at this stuff. Like I had joked years ago and said, boy, I need to get into the nonprofit business because it seems to me the nonprofit businesses are the businesses that make the most profit. So what nonprofit hospital has the most highly compensated C-suite? Santa Clara Healthcare. Howard Kern, $33.2 million compensation. 32 million, 30 million, 17 million, 17, 15, 15, 13, 12, 12 million. These are the total compensation that the CEOs are making for these non-profit hospitals. Non-profit hospitals. Right?
And
that should be illegal.
Don't forget that they get, I'm pretty sure they get large grants from the federal government that are supposed to be used to treat people on low incomes, or poorer people. And I'm not sure that they spend it on. I'm not sure that they spend it on that.
And one other way, that they can hide and use more money is under research and development. That good old term that is very negotiable when it comes to how much research and development is really going on when you get $100 million.
It's crazy. So. I mean, and you get all these tax benefits too, but right? And so my thing is like, if you're nonprofit, then all right, you make yourself enough to make a living, but tens of millions of dollars in compensation for somebody that works at an air quote non-profit place is a little ridiculous. Lisa, so I pulled up this one. I think maybe we'll cover the story, then we can show the video afterwards first. But I did pull up this one here first. I think this is the one. Let me see. Sarajevo Safari trailer?
Yeah, what it is that, you know, here we have, you know, like what people called a conspiracy theory, which is human hunting. And here, this is where they actually cover it. So in Sarajevo, when the war was going on and all of that, very rich people were paying oodles of money to shoot people. So there were human hunting parties during the war in Sarajevo. And this is I think it's came out in an Italian court or something like that. But that, you know, they paid 70,000 to shoot innocent people in human safari hunting trips to Sarajevo with extra charge to kill children. And there's a investigation opened in Milan by prosecutors and Italian tourists who allegedly paid to shoot people. Wealthy foreign gun enthusiasts accused of traveling to the city for sniper tourism during its 4-year siege in the 1990s by Serb Bosnian militias, the Bosnian War. So that was in 1992 to 1996. 10,000 plus people were killed in Sarajevo in the longest siege of a capital in the history of modern warfare.
Wow.
They flew from Trieste to Belgrade on the Serbian airline, I can't pronounce it, Aviogenics, to be weekend snipers and join in the bloody siege, paying between 70,000 to 88,000 pounds. And the investigation originated from a 17-page legal complaint submitted by Milan-based writer Ezio Gavazzini, ex-magistrate Guido Salvini, and Benjamin Carrick, ex-mayor of Sarajevo. So this is on, guys. This is on, you know?
Wow. And yeah, and there was talk about that too, Mac, in the drops, wasn't there? About how these people used the I think it was that land in the Black Forest area where they sold some of the property after that. I could probably find that.
Yeah, it was. It was the Black Forest. I don't remember all the drops on that.
And do you remember the Rothschilds sold their hunting lodge?
It was during COVID. There was a person. You remember that disappeared into the Black Forest, and there was all these police chasing them. Wasn't that the Black Forest? Could be mistaken. If you don't remember it, don't worry.
I can remember a video of all of these like law enforcement going into the Black Forest. I do remember that, you know. And the Black Forest is interesting. I think it's the Black Forest, and it's interesting because it's you know, like Liechtenstein or like the Vatican. You know, it's kind of its own little area, you know. Is it the Black Forest, or have I got that somebody in the channel or who's listening might be able to correct me on that? Was it the Black Forest or was it somewhere else? But I know that it's like it's like another, it's got its own laws, you know, and only there's only like very, very rich people that live there on these big estates. And I do remember the Rothschilds, they're selling their hunting lodge. You know, why would they do that? Time
to play, Dopey. Remember that was Bin Talal's nickname, or Trump's pet nickname for Bin Talal was Dopey. Time to play, Dopey. Black Forest. And then down here, truth wasn't about to come to... would POTUS make a serious accusation if the truth wasn't about to come to light? Black Forest, Austria, Rothschild. Fire sale days after post. What went on there? Dopey. You have more than you know. Interesting. So yeah, that's crazy. And
what's in that the Q post in the graphic right above it? There's a Q post at the bottom. I just wanted to take
on that same last one I was just looking at.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna have to look that one up again. Black Forest. Here we go. It was this one
At
with
the graphic, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
him
click
talking about how Adam Schiff was
at the
essentially.
bottom.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Mr. President, I see you've had a
Down.
busy morning of executive time. Oh, okay, this
Right
is an
there.
older post. Blunt and direct.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm blocking the screen. Here we go, guys. Sorry. Blunt and direct time. Adam Schiff is a traitor to our country, leaker, national security, evil, TikTok. Hope the $7.8 million was worth it. Enjoy the show. And remember, BDT, blunt and direct time. That was, if I'm going off of memory, wasn't that around the time where that guy had like an explosive thing with him in like New York City or something like that? They were going to try to do something. This is totally right off of memory, but yeah, that's some crazy business there. And Lisa did drop a little thing, which see if the how this post looks like it's a Jazeer video, but essentially this is like the whole thing, Lisa, like where they showed this was Safari for humans. And that the people who come for this reason are a new morbid type of snipers who pay to kill. Unreal. Sarajevo. And, you know, I dream about her, so she's dream about other victims. But, you know, these places were absolutely gorgeous. And we go and do this to it, essentially, after, you know, after all these wars. Serbia, Herzegovina, all these other places that we've gone to, quote, help out, or whatever the hell they said that they were doing over there, clearly wasn't helping out, because if you look at it before and after, all these countries are basically war-torn, war zones, and they stay that way, unfortunately, for too long. And that's us, though. Hey, we're the good guys, right? And like I've said for a long, long time, love our country, but didn't love the way our country was being run. Love the people of our country, didn't love the way our government was running things. And you dropped something about COVID also, Lisa. I think I dropped that. I brought that up as well. What's that about?
That was basically saying that 17 is a study, and 17 million people have died of COVID. So that's 1 in 800 people. So, you know, Mike, I did watch Nuremberg.
How was it?
It was
good. And it was very good. But, you know, it's the number of excess deaths, you know. So it's like, yes, you know, this is showing you, like, it's the figures from all across the world, you know, but 1 in 800 people died. And it's showing you the excess deaths, and also look at the vaccinations as well.
Freaking, I mean, we know about that stuff now, and I just can't believe there were so many people just willing to just force other people and scream other people into doing this stuff back then. It's really, really sad. And, you know, that might have been a test within itself right there to see how, you know, how much people will fall for things. Like, how pliable are we? How much will we take until we push back, you know?
I think it was, and, you know, they certainly had a plan. If you notice, there's so many, they're going, oh, you know, there's this new disease and it's killing people and all of that. They're trying to bring it back, you know, but they're not having much luck, which is great, you know? They're trying to bring a so-called pandemic back, and it's just not working. Not working at all.
And
but
there was...
Go ahead, Mac.
No, go. Finish your sentence, sorry.
No. It's okay.
I said there was definitely collateral damage, no doubt. But, you know, President Trump got ahead of this big time. He saved the world, in my opinion, and, you know, the good guys. But what's that? Go ahead.
I was just going to say there was another thing that happened, and it happened about two and a half weeks ago, where Bill Gates has rolled back on climate change. He says he was wrong. Yes, he said he was wrong about climate change, There is an interview out there somewhere. That is huge. That is huge.
Yeah,
really.
President Trump had a truth about that, and he's like, "That's a huge win," and that's a new world order agenda. And I think England, King Charles, one of his, and then illegal immigration was another that Trump made at the UN speech. So that's fantastic. And I believe Epstein is also connected to Fauci, and there's stuff going on there through Bill Gates. And who's the other guy? Saunders, maybe? Is that his name? I got it written down somewhere. Sorry. I got off track.
No, you're good.
But we forgot to get to the misspells in that document if you wanted to put that up.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that for sure.
No, real quick, Nicki Minaj is supposed to be talking, I think, one of our diplomats in Nigeria about the deaths of Christians. So,
really?
Yeah, we'll say nothing about the pedo husband then.
I know, right? Like, let's forget about that.
Come on.
All right. Before I skip to the missing letters, I just want to cover this at the end quick here. Greg Abbott says Texas Department of Public Safety joined with federal and local officials to raid a TDA sex and human trafficking operation in San Antonio. About 200 illegal immigrants were apprehended. More of this to come. It says less than a mile from the American Replacement Center in San Antonio. Or authorized activity on San Pedro Ave. Homeland Security investigators, ICE, and several other local, state, federal, blah, 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 blah. And so as I'm kind of, I think it was, Debbie had sent me a message as I was prepping for the show, and I had literally just copied this link in here and talking about like the border and stuff. And she goes, "Oh, hey, Red Pill showed the video of your son in the video." And so I'm like, "Oh, let me go over and say hello." So in the course of me going over and listening to him, there was somebody gave a super chat or something like that and said that they caught the number 2 in Tren de Aragua somewhere. So I don't know exactly where that was. This is just going off of secondhand information that I heard on Zach's show there. So possible the number 2 for Tren de Aragua is been encamped or taken down.
I think there was something to do with Britain as well. With Tren de Aragua, there's something that they're selling, pink something, and it's coming over to Britain. I can't remember for the life of me, but it's like a mixture of 2 drugs, and they're selling it to Britain through like Spain or something like that, So it goes along with the illegal migration as well. Because that's how these people kind of get into the country. But there's like some kind of triangle that they're using, Yeah, that's all I can say. That's all I can remember of the story. But there's definitely a link between Tren de Aragua and the UK and Spain.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm sure they're pushing that stuff all over the place for sure. Mac, is this what you're talking about here? The the Daniel Richman article?
Yeah, this is actually a declassified document where they misspell the names of Anthony Weiner, I think Kuma Abedin, and Hillary Clinton, so that when you ask for a FOIA, you have a tough time finding it.
Interesting. And
so this is how they hide.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
ahead. I didn't want to steal the thunder there, but we know in at least one previous case would be Director Comey, which I think is that involved with James 8. So when you look up or you FOIA information, if anybody happens to do that for James Comey, James B. Comey, you actually need to put a FOIA in for James 8, the number 8, and then capital C and the rest corny. So corny, James 8, corny. Because when you look at it at quick glance, it looks like Comey. Oh my goodness. But yeah, this is exactly how they do it. Absolutely how they do it, where they misspell names so you can't look up information. And this one is Daniel Richman. Isn't that the attorney for Comey? Was that his attorney buddy? You were both right, and he nailed the position I found myself in. The team comes to me yesterday and says there's over 600,000 emails on Weisser's computer. Oh, not Wiener's computer, Weisser's computer. And they include 10 years of Huma Abedin's emails, including emails with HRC that metadata shows are from the, quote, missing BlackBerry domain used for the first month of Secretary Clinton's, not even an O or a T, this Secretary Clinton's tenure at State. Appears Huma didn't know all her stuff was backing up to this computer. What am I going to do? I got to authorize the work and correct the record with Congress. Imagine what I would have done to my institution if I didn't do both of those things. Not a hard call, although I hate having to do it. Oh my word. Yeah, dude, they completely misspelled Wiener's name. It was Weiser. They called Clinton Clinton, Clinin apostrophe S. And is Abedin supposed to be with one D or two Ds? I'm not 100% sure on that one, to be honest with you.
One.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably supposed to be done. Abedin. Yep, Huma Abedin, 1D. So yes, they absolutely, for any of those who can't read that, it's pretty difficult for me to even read it there. But yes, they misspelled Wiener as Weiser, and then Abedin with two Ds instead of one, and then Clinton, Clinin. That is bananas, dude. Three major screw-ups in one document like that? Who wrote that thing? Oh, geez, what's her name there? Would have been a lot funnier if I had it off the top of my head. The woman that wrote the Kraken. Who wrote this article? The lady that wrote the Kraken with all the misspellings on the first 2 pages?
Sidney Powell?
Yeah. Who wrote this one? Is Sidney Powell law clerking for these people over here where they're misspelling everything? But maybe that was the point of it. Maybe it was supposed to be, the Kraken was supposed to be a messed up document as well. But, all right, guys, unless there's anything else pressing that we need to get for information, we got to start wrapping up the old show here. So let me know if there's anything else. Yeah, I'll thank a couple people while you guys are perusing the stuff. Because this is what happens, guys. There's always so many stories that we inevitably never end. And then what happens, guys, at the end of every show, we always talk for a little bit. We're like, oh, shit, we just forgot. Wait, we didn't. Oh, yeah. Oh, because there's so much going on, right? It's all coming back into the fold now. And it's like, I think this is the fire hose phase, guys. I really do. This is the part of it.
Trump right before the show said drip drip. We gotta play that. We gotta play that. So I got the clip up in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Take a look, see.
So anybody knows drip drip drip.
Is
then
it
a flood? Yeah, it's gonna be up and during the beginning of right before the show.
Drip drip flood. Oh, here we go. Let's take a look here. Unmute and show the folks. Oop. Ding.
I've been in plenty of McDonald's that clean beautifully. You must have some awfully good incentives because they are really amazing places, the job that's done. But upon taking office, I signed an order requiring that for every new regulation, 10 old job-killing regulations have to be eliminated. So if we put in a new regulation, then we get rid of 10. Otherwise, you don't get the new regulation. And, we got rid of the drip, drip water. We call it the drip, drip, where drip drips out of the sink. States with tremendous water, so much water, they have nothing but problems getting rid. They had restrictions on water. It comes down from heaven, right? They had restrictions on water. Got rid of the drip, drip water. We call it the drip, drip, where drip drips out of the sink.
He said it 3 times over, dude. Hold on.
They had restrictions on water. So you want to wash your hands, or like me, I want to wash my hair.
Oh, God.
I lather up. I turn that, and there's no water. The water's drip. They call it, they put a restrictor on. I won't mention the third item in the bathroom because I always get criticized. I used to mention that, but I don't mention it anymore because you know what I think you do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you shouldn't be owning a McDonald's franchise. You wouldn't do well even with a McDonald's franchise. But no, the water restrictions totally lifted. All restrictors are gone.
Interesting. And all the posts that have anything to do with dripping them, they're all January and February, unfortunately. But hey, maybe he's telling us January drip drips turned into a flood. And that post on January 23rd says, "What storm, Mr. President? You'll see." And I don't even know why that comes up with the word drip drip because there's not a drip in that post at all. But that's interesting. Those are little keywords
with water
for us.
in it. Any water
oh,
comms or heaven comms?
Watch the water. Yeah, for sure. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of those. Water. 50 posts containing water. Because you got water, Watergate.
Yeah.
And then the covering of sharing water, bringing water to first responders, water bottles. So yeah, there's a lot of those. We would have to definitely
There's
go
19
into
heavens.
19 heaven posts.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let me thank a couple folks over here, and on the way out of here, my channel. There we go. Thank you to one of my favorite screen names, and I always have to make this caveat. I'm sure he loves it. That it is a deer and a pickle. So thank you to Saint Cosmic Dildo, P Dancer, and Susie Q, the top 3 contributors over on D Live. I'm dropping 50 diamonds into the bucket. I have to make that caveat, Lisa, or else it just sounds like I'm being lewd, you know. But I do like the clever humor. Like, I think still to this day one of my favorite ones of all time, and I haven't seen the name, so if you're in the chat, say hello. Is Slick Willie's Willie. I love that name. That's probably
play on word.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite screen names of all time. Slick Willie's Willie. I thought that was great. So over on thefoxhole.app, Lori P gifted the ship. No message on there, but thank you. And then One Thunder with the cookie. No message, but thank you. Norwegian Wood with the cookie says Trump troll level awesome. Yeah, that's what he does. It's kind of his thing. We do a little trolling. And then Tin Man 1295 with the can says, hey bro, sent you a DM on here and on X. Oh, okay. I'm gonna explain that one in a second. You're gonna love this one. Your email is borked on Proton. It says you don't exist. SpaceShot76 at Proton Mail should work. I'm getting emails, and I'm checking them, but not seeing it. I'm going to show you what's going on with Twitter in a second. Country Girl 007 with the cookie says, happy Monday. Thank you for that. And then Good Dog with the can. And thank you for that, Good Dog. And somebody told me yesterday that I should do an interview with Good Dog. So I'll have to take a look-see and see what's going on. I think that was the person's name that they mentioned. So I'm releasing the old scratchings over here once this thing gets out of my way here. Bing. Releasing scratch-offs and boom. And I'm going to show Mac, Lisa, and all the folks what kind of fun I've been having over on Twitter. Just a word to the wise out there, guys. If they ask you to put in a code, like for a decrypted email, so it would be encrypted DM and your DMs are safe and this, that, and the other. Just showing you guys what happens to me when I do mine. All right. So this is, if anybody's sending me a DM on Twitter, and the other one on X, guys, unfortunately, I don't get around to checking the DM on the pilled thing as much as I should, and I'll get back to doing that. So let me remove this red trim so everybody can see everything. So there is a screenshot of my phone, and I told Elon the other day, I said, geez, Elon, I've had to reinstall this app 5 times now since I made a password for the encrypted DMs. Once I open up the DM, all right, so once I go into, if I don't mess with the DM at all, the app works fine. But once I open the DM, it shuts down immediately and it gives me a restart prompt. And then it messes up the way the app works. Like if I go to copy a link, it shuts the app down completely. So when I hit my DM, this is what I get now. Ding. Oops, an unexpected error occur. Reinstalled 5 times and has still not received anything as far as fixing this. So that's the issue over there. So, Mac, Lisa, anything else on your end? You got any final thoughts you want to say goodbye to the folks and good folks, men and women out there? Lisa?
Final thoughts. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm watching what's going on with the stock market. I don't play the stock market, by the way. I ain't playing somebody else's game. But, I said a few weeks ago or a bit longer that the tech companies seem like, and US specifically, they're overvalued. So now what's happening is, NVIDIA, like the world's biggest company at $5 trillion, the people in the stock market are really getting the willies because they're not sure whether it's going to hold up. It's like, is it really worth $5 trillion? They do chips, and obviously they're based on AI. The use of AI, and a lot of people have bought their chips, but we'll see what happens. But there's a little bit of bottom corking that needs going on that's going on in the stock market right now. I just had a look at it, and I just think it's hilarious. I just think it's hilarious. I just don't know what's going on.
Ripe for a burst, perhaps?
Quite possibly, because like all of these companies, they have a ceiling, but people kind of buy their stocks and shares as if there isn't a ceiling. And it's like, of course there's a ceiling with NVIDIA. They make chips, they can only go so far because they're doing chips, and they're probably going to have to diversify, really, because it's Mac physics, yes? Isn't there a lot of physics involved that says how far you can go with the chip as it is right now?
They were having problems making them for a while too, right? Like they couldn't make. I remember I couldn't get a rental car like 3-4 years ago because they didn't have chips, and therefore what would have costed me like $300 or $400 for a few days rental was like $1,200 because they said, "Oh, we don't have any cars." Like, well, guess what? I'm not getting a rental either.
That was when during COVID and all the ships are off the coast. So I think a lot of it has to do with the materials that they're made with. So the manufacturing portions of that. Once you get past getting the raw materials needed, then but Lisa's right. There's chips there was an evolution of the chip. Everyone remembers Intel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they stopped counting, it seemed like, with the letters, and then I don't know what they're on now. But they're constantly revamping, and the way chips made. I think we showed it on the show where they take a laser, I think, and they hit like a pin drop of tin. Didn't we? You remember that?
Oh, you talking about the one where they're seeing code or something like that?
Well, once they shoot that laser, it hits the tin and it imprints a grid system onto a material that's used, probably silicon based, used for the circuit. So it's done at a very small level, so they don't like structurally build it. It just imprints itself on something that can be made into an electronic circuit.
Doesn't that mean that there's a ceiling as far as far as they can go, because they're not really changing the material, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can make smaller drops and so forth, but how chips are made now is just ridiculous. I don't even know. I'm not even up. They're talking about quantum chips now. So
interesting. Yeah, we'll see how things work out.
But physics is part of everything.
Yeah.
Electrical chemistry, all that stuff. So it's crazy how these people invented this stuff. It's obviously a build on in order to get to where we get. But just the components for everything to work is insanely out of this world.
Yeah, it's a much above my pay grade. I don't know how it works. I just know when I push the power button, I want the computer to turn on. That's all, So, thank you guys all for hanging out with us. The mods, again, special thank you to you out there. We do appreciate your help, and all of you guys for hanging out with us on these Mondays. And I will get to you an answer on that one later, Wheezy. I'm not 100% sure, but let me see. What's tomorrow? So if there is no other show tomorrow, I'm probably gonna get on tomorrow or Wednesday, but I will put out postings and let you guys know for sure. But Mac, Lisa, great show as usual. Again, thank you to the mods, and as we say at the end of every show, stick around, everybody except for YouTube. You get one outro video, everybody else gets two. Even when it looks like it's ending the video, you're gonna have another video after that once I shut down YouTube. So, Lisa?
Yeah, just one thing, give us a thumbs up, and because there's a lot of, the more thumbs up we get, the more widely the show can be distributed. Yes. So that'd be nice if you could see your way to doing that. You don't have to, but it'd be nice to. You know,
You enjoyed it.
just to help us along. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I always say, give you guys some more folks, some more like-minded folks to talk to, which will just help us get out more. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in. And until that next video, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right. It's brackets and jackets. Bringing it back, but brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens